Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. If you don't know me, my name is Brandy and I make Disney related content about my program from last summer, as well as I'm going to be making more stuff for this summer. Ignore my sound, I am sick, so everything just sounds very stuffy and it's hard for me to hear myself, so please ignore that. But today I'm going to be doing another story time for you guys, just because I kind of liked how the last one went, so I want to do another one just before I get into the more detailed content that I want to post for different tips and whatnot for the coming up program. So I want to post those, but I wanted to do one more story time before I get to those. So I've seen a few videos kind of around of crazy guest stories, crazy interactions. My last story time, I'll link it in below, and I'll also put it up in the corner, was my time that I got proposed to in Disney World. So that was a weird guest experience. But today is going to be one specific night that I had in Magic Kingdom. This wasn't more crazy, as in more scary and frightening type of idea. So we are going to jump right into that one right now. To start off with, this was after 4th of July. The park, I picked up a pack shift, which is parade audience control in Magic Kingdom, which are normally just 3-hour shifts, so I picked up just a normal 3-hour shift. It was extra magic hours at night, so obviously during the fireworks, people are going to be trying to exit the park at the time the extra magic hour guests are going to come in. So it was very, very busy, very, very packed. There was no walkway room. All the walkways were filled. All of the cast members were trying the best that they can to clear the walkways in case an emergency situation happens, because it does get very busy and very packed and there's no pathways, so it's very hard. If there's an emergency, you gotta go. So where I was stationed, where my position was that night, I was over by Tomorrowland Terrace, and the backstage, on stage, off stage, back entrance that Magic Kingdom opens when it gets really busy for guests to exit. So I was pretty much stationed there. This story has a few different bouncing parts. So this first thing I'm going to say is related to another part of the story, but keep this in mind. You gotta remember this. So earlier in the night, I had another cast member come up to me and was like, hey, have you seen or heard from a little boy? His mom is looking for him. He got lost. I'm like, no, sorry, I haven't heard anything. And then it just I forgot about it the rest of the night. That happened. So someone came up and told me that. I'm like, okay, yeah, I'll go keep an eye out, blah, 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 all that kind of stuff. That was the first little situation that happened. So I'm like, great. We're on a mission to try to find this boy, and the park is packed. It's crazy. It is so hard to try to find anyone because, like I said, there was no moving room. You couldn't move. So from there, with the no moving, where I was, you needed to make sure the pathway was clear up beside Tomorrowland Terrace by a railing. So earlier, just for the fireworks, I went over to everyone and was just telling the guests, hey, just so you know, this isn't firework viewing. We need to keep this pathway clear for walking. Closer to the firework, I'm going to have to ask you to move, but for now you can stay here, kind of thing. So I went down, everyone that was on, that was being there, just letting them know, hey guys, just so you know, this isn't firework viewing, all that safety stuff. I was just telling every single person along that railing that they couldn't do that. And then I get to this one particular family. They, I don't know if I want to say they were stubborn, but they were extremely rude, and they were also causing safety issues. The daughters of the family were sitting on top of garbage cans, and you're not allowed to do that because that's obviously a safety issue. So I also told them when I went down there, hey guys, I just need to ask you to get off the trash cans. It's a safety concern. We can't be having you guys sitting on there. So they got a little angry for that, because they're like, oh, we can sit wherever we want. But also I was telling them that they can't be there for firework viewing because, again, it has to be a safety concern to have a walkway. So people started to move, and then it gets closer to the fireworks. That family's still there, and most people have moved, so I go back and do another round, just letting them know, hey guys, you can't sit here. This isn't firework viewing, all that jazz. And then I get to that family again and just reminding them, being like, hey guys, you can't be here, this isn't firework viewing, it's a safety hazard, you're gonna have to move. Then they get angry at me for that. So I brush it off. I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna go back to my position, keep telling people, hey guys, keep moving this way. We need to clear this walkway, kept doing my job. And then I turn back to see if there's any more people on that area again. And that same family, the daughters, were now sitting on the railing. And this railing is over a little pond. So I've already talked to this family twice. They've got angry at me both times. So I see that, and obviously sitting on the railing is like worse than sitting on garbage cans, because if you fall back in a pond, and that's not good at all. So I get one of my other cast members, I'm like, hey, can you just let them know that they can't sit on the railing? They're gonna have to move. I've already asked them twice. I am scared. I don't want to ask them again. So he goes over and talks to them, and this lady snaps. And I mean, starts yelling at him, saying, you can't tell us to move, we're sitting here, all that kind of stuff. Very rude, very angry. So he just kind of stepped back and was like, okay, like, we've tried dealing with you, you're not doing it again. So I go back, this is maybe 15 minutes before the fireworks start. This is when we are normally picking up our pace, making sure everyone's out of the walkway, out of the way. That area was very busy, and I will also say, during the fireworks, that is your only entrance to Tomorrowland. So if you're trying to just go to Tomorrowland, that's your only entrance. So that has to be clear as a walkway for people to go to and from. So again, I was trying to clear the walkway. We had coordinators over at this point trying to clear the walkway. It was getting very, very packed. I go and remind everyone on that railing again. The family was still there. And I told them, like, you guys cannot be here. Like, this is a safety, everyone has to move. So this was time number 4 that they've got spoken to. And at this point, this is when I got yelled at. Being the main thing I remember is her yelling at me, saying I was prejudiced against her and her family. They are a colored family, so they thought I was being racist against them because I was telling them to move, and they're saying, oh, you didn't ask anyone else to move from this position, like you're only asking us, you're being prejudiced against us. And I'm like, no, I've asked everyone to move because it is a safety issue. Everyone has to move from this area. It is a safety issue. No one can be here. So she was getting up in my face, yelling at me, saying all that. So I go back to my spot. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to let her be. She can keep yelling at me. I'm going to go back to my spot and do my job. Then all of a sudden, I hear from behind my head, her with, well, I don't hear her have a camera, but I see her coming over with her camera on, being like, ma'am, tell me your name. I'm recording you from this because you're being prejudiced against us, because you're not letting us sit where we want to sit. And at this point, I just get really annoyed with the situation. Call over a coordinator. You just put your light wand up and call over a coordinator. So I called over a coordinator because I was not dealing with this anymore. I was not dealing with this woman yelling at me, saying I was prejudiced against her. And she also said I needed to call security because of what I was doing. She was telling me I needed to call security on myself because she thought I was being prejudiced against her. Like I said, all of this was because it's safety for them not to be in that spot. They have to move because of a safety concern. You cannot be in that spot. After she was saying I needed to call security, there was another gentleman saying, like, agreeing with her, being like, and first of all, he didn't know anything on this subject. He's just on his scooter riding along, trying to get through. He just happened to be at that point when that lady started yelling at me. And he was like, yeah, you need to call security. What you did was absolutely wrong. And I'm like, I'm not dealing with this anymore. So I have a coordinator come over, deals with the situation. That, they get called, security gets called over for them because they're not cooperating. It was a mess. It was such a mess. So that was part 1 of the night. I was being recorded. So this might be the second video I have of me somewhere out there of awkward situations. But now I will come back to a point that I said in the beginning about a little kid gone missing. It might not seem like it at first that these two interconnect, but you'll see why. Later, during the fireworks show, fireworks going off, the show's going on. I have a mother and a son who's in a stroller come up to me and she's like, where's first aid? I need to get to first aid. So I'm over here. First aid, so I'm by Tomorrowland Terrace. First aid is all the way over by Baby Care, over by Crystal Palace, on the opposite side of Main Street. So I have to go from here all the way to the other side. And the first thing I do is I look. There's not a single path to get through. That's how busy it was. We could not clear the walkways because how busy it was. There was no, like, everyone keeps trying to clear, couldn't clear it. But again, like I said, these need to be cleared for emergency situations. So I asked the mother, I'm like, do you guys have to get to first aid, like, right now? Is it an emergency? She's like, yes, my son fell. His lips all bleeding, like, we need to get first aid. And I look down this kid, blood down his face, down his shirt. I'm like, this is an emergency. And again, I'm just thinking in my head, please let me be able to get through this crowd because it was that busy. I managed to ask another cast member, I'm like, can you please watch my spot? I need to bring this family over to first aid right now. So they're like, yeah, no problem. So I tell the family, I tell the mom and the son, follow my light wand. So I have my light wand in the air and I'm yelling, guys, you need to clear the walkway. This is for an emergency. Please, we need clearance. Like, when you yelled, this is an emergency, literally move out of my way. This is an emergency. I need to get through. People start to cooperate. So I was trying to push through them, like, and I kept turning around, making sure they were there, being like, just follow my light wand, it's fine, we'll get through. So after myself yelling, I get up to halfway down Main Street. That is normally the busiest spot. So I'm now right beside Casey's Corner, right in that midway of Main Street. There was coordinators there that kept yelling, guys, you need to move, like, keep walking, you can't stop here. So I turned to the one coordinator, and she's like, hey, what's going on? I'm like, I need to bring this family to first aid right now, it's an emergency. She goes into full-on, like, mom mode, I'm gonna call it, saying, everyone move, this is an emergency, we need to get through. And, like, she's trying to clear people, so there was two of us trying to get people to move out of the way, because, again, emergency, you gotta get through. Kept yelling, so I get about halfway through the second half of this crowd, and there's a scooter coming one way, and we're coming this way. The stroller wouldn't fit with the scooter because the scooter, it was at a bypass. No one could move. So all of a sudden, this mom takes the kid out of the stroller, gives me the kid's hand, and was like, just keep walking. So I'm holding this little kid's hand. I'm gonna say he's no more than probably 4. No more than 4. I kept checking up with it, because, like, his mom's trying to get through with the scooter, or with the stroller, trying to fold it, and I'm holding this little boy's hand, like, are you okay? Like, are you good? He was such a trooper. He did not cry at all. The whole time trying to get through, didn't cry. Such a trooper. So I kept trying to get through. We managed to get through to first aid. The mom was there, got the son. First aid got to them, and then they said to me, this is such a hard night. I lost my son earlier, my husband's out to find them, and my husband doesn't have his phone, so I don't know where either of them were. This is the same family that I was told about at the very beginning of the night that their son got lost. I felt so bad for this family. They were having such a rough night. So there was kind of the upside of I was able to help this family, bring them to first aid, but they still had the fact that their one son was missing. My camera is about to die. That's kind of the end of the story. So I kind of had a really bad experience and a really difficult, awkward experience, and something that kind of turned out good but also not turned out good. I don't know if they ended up finding that kid by the end of the night. I don't know if they found it after the fireworks or what happened. I don't know the end of that story. I just know my part of bringing them to first aid and them being that family. This video is rambling on longer than I wanted to. My camera is going to die, and I need to get back to studying for exams. I just want to take a quick break, tell you guys this quick little story time. So I'm going to get back to studying, and I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like and subscribe. down below. All links for previous videos, especially the story time, will be linked down in the description. And I hope you guys enjoy this and enjoy